Could've went pro.
Yeah, I love the YouTube channel.
Thanks, dude.
Do I leave the studio this week? Welcome back to Odd Man Sports. Totally normal sports show. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. I'm also the host of That's Good Sports, as well as a new show, Last Take, which I'll explain more about later. And as a favor to my Italian father, please take a minute to subscribe to all three. Speaking of Italians, October is Italian American Heritage Month. This is my month. So on this week's show, I'll share my latest thoughts on Rich Basaccia as a former boss. I'll explain why Ben Dinucci's a mentor is a thriving. And I'll tell you why better days are ahead for the rookies behind Jimmy Garoppolo. Buongiorno, Papa Gino. Vic Fangio also on the Enfuegocito. Dinks and Dunks. Do you hear that noise? That's the sound of football gamblers making money, because last Sunday, the favorites went 9-3 straight up and 8-4 against the spread, including covers by public teams like the Chiefs, Packers, Rams, and Cowboys. Said the director of trading for BetMGM, it was the worst day behind the counter we've ever had in 35 years. The public crushed it today. Way to go, everyone. Though to be fair, the undefeated Cardinals getting 3 points against Baker with a bad shoulder was as big a lock as John Gruden's son, Deuce Gruden, naming his future son, Trips Gruden. Speaking of Gruden, the shockwaves from the email scandal continue to reverberate throughout the NFL. Over the last week, former players and coaches have chimed in on ex-Raiders coach, including Tim Brown and Jack Del Rio. Del Rio called Gruden's emails, which included topless photos of the Washington football team cheerleaders, quote, shocking. And he's right. I mean, who could have predicted that a spokesman for Hooters is a sleazebag that likes to look at boobs? Now, these ugly Gruden revelations have forced those around him to ask themselves some very hard questions. Like, how could I not know my close friend held these views? And does anyone know where I can see these topless cheerleader photos? No, that's not me. Not me, of course. I don't want to see them. I'm talking about the people around Gruden. That's what they're saying. Personally speaking, I prefer my cheerleaders the Patriot way, in loose-fitting parkas and Ugg boots. Now, Jack Del Rio preceded Gruden as coach of the Raiders and said owner Mark Davis openly told him he would move on from Del Rio for Gruden, saying, quote, he was always very straightforward with the fact that he was in love with John, and if he had the chance, he was going to hire him. Asked for comment, John Gruden responded via email saying, sounds a little gay, if you ask me. This past Sunday, the Broncos hosted the Raiders, and this lazy guy got out of his Sunday recliner to attend the game and also appear on the game day show Ride with Katie. Let's take a look.
You get to drink beer in what looks like a medieval torture device. About to Braveheart this shit.
You get a little weird here for a second.
Not weird for me.
There's a link in the description, so check that out at the end of the show, and shout out to the Broncos fan who told me the camera adds 10 inches. Jerk. The Raiders beat my Broncos 34-24, and after the game, here was Derek Carr talking about the team's first win without Coach Gru.
It definitely sucks not hugging Gru after a game like that.
Asked for comment, Gruden responded via text saying, sounds a little gay if you ask me. Speaking of teams who won without their head coach, the Cardinals went to Cleveland and walloped the Browns, with Cliff Kingsbury staying home in Arizona with COVID. And it was these same Browns, if you remember, who beat the Steelers in last year's playoffs with Kevin Stefanski watching in his basement. This seems to beg the question, what exactly do head coaches do in the NFL? Not much, apparently, which is why I'm guessing Jason Garrett used to clap so much on the Cowboys sideline and why Pete Carroll chews his gum so hard to hide the fact that they literally have nothing to do, which makes me actually respect Jim Caldwell more, because the former Lions coach used to just spin games staring straight ahead with a blank look on his face. That's a video of Jim. Now turning to basketball, the NBA season tipped off this week. And ahead of the Knicks' first game, point guard Derrick Rose took the opportunity to propose to his fiancée, Elena Anderson, at center court of Madison Square Garden. Romance. What a cool moment! According to the New York Post, Rose played the Drake song, Furthest Thing, that features the lyric, I had to Derrick Rose the knee up before I got the re-up. Other actual lyrics from that song, somewhere between I'm sober and I'm lifted, somewhere between a mistress and a commitment. So maybe not the best engagement song? On a recent episode of First Take, things got so heated between Stephen A. Smith and Jay Williams while discussing Kyrie Irving that hardly anyone noticed my ESPN hosting debut.
You're trying to tell me this is about basketball?
Yeah,
this is about winning a championship?
No.
Not about making the right decision for myself and my family?
The right decision? How much time do you...
And I know what my right decision is for me and my family, Stephen A.
All right, okay.
I know it, and I would talk to Kyrie about how I felt, about how I came to a conclusion.
You asking questions and you're talking.
Fans.
Which one's it going to be? You asking questions and then answering me.
Appearing on First Take convinced me to start a new show called Last Take, in which I will discuss end-of-day sports topics like if Jackson Mahomes is an accurate representation of Gen Z, maybe we don't need to worry so much about saving the planet. Money Talks. Over the course of his career, Thomas Brady has made about $300 million on the football field. So money is clearly not a factor in his decision to keep playing. It's just to be a dick at this point. Or is there something more there? On Thursday night, Brady had this to say about what will cause him to eventually retire. I could literally play until I'm 50 or 55 if I wanted to. I don't think I will, obviously. My physical body won't be the problem. I think it will just be, I'm just missing too much of my life with my family. Which is really touching. But also, I'm 90% sure is not true, because on The Shop, Brady also said this.
What I say versus what I think are two totally different things. I would say 90% of what I say is probably not what I'm thinking.
Which means, according to Brady's own math, there's a 10% chance he wants to retire to be with his family, and a 90% chance he's still playing just to avoid them. Now, if you remember, back in April, Tom made this stunning admission about his home life.
Tom Brady reveals wife Gisele Bündchen wasn't satisfied in their relationship, telling Howard Stern that a couple of years ago, Gisele spoke up about feeling like there wasn't an even balance in their family duties. And in the offseason, Gisele wanted him to step up a little more at home.
And anyone who's been married to a woman knows this Brady revelation is 100% true. And it also wasn't the first I've heard of this tabloid fodder, because in 2014, when Brady was at normal NFL retirement age, Star Magazine published this juicy anonymous tip. According to insiders, Gisele is super controlling with Tom and has final say on everything. Since the couple's kids are too young to help out around the house, Gisele has enforced a strict chore schedule that their dad must stick to. They have housekeepers, but Gisele won't let them do anything. She makes Tom get up at 6 a.m. with the children and then has him scrub the toilets and clean the floors while she sleeps in. No wonder Brady wasn't a fan of Belichick's harsh treatment of him. He wanted work to be where he could get away from people constantly telling him what to do. And now that 44-year-old Tom's in Tampa, he'd much rather hang out with a bunch of 22-year-olds kissing his ass than a pissed-off wife who's all up in it. Odd man out! In a nice moment after the Bengals' Week 4 victory over the Jaguars, second-year quarterback Joe Burrow had this advice for struggling rookie Trevor Lawrence.
It gets better, bro, I promise.
It gets better. And last week, Jets head coach Robert Saleh had these words of encouragement for rookie Zach Wilson, who leads the league in picks.
It's not easy being a rookie quarterback. It never will be. It never has, never will be. But it's going to start clicking.
Translation, it gets better. Now, as you may or may not know, the It Gets Better project is a movement founded by Dan Savage and his husband to provide encouragement to teenagers who were bullied because of their sexuality. The gist, which has been echoed by numerous celebrities online, is life may suck now, but keep your head up because it does get better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better. It gets better.
So, if I may borrow a phrase, I'd like to take a moment to speak directly to the rookie quarterbacks. Because I know year one in the NFL is not easy. When you announced you were coming out of college, you knew this would be hard. You just didn't realize how hard. Just a few short years ago, rookies weren't expected to start because they weren't ready. Those days are gone, but better days are ahead. It does get better. Trevor, you've been compared to fellow number 1 pick Peyton Manning, who during his rookie season set a rookie record with 28 picks and went 3-13. And now he's in the Hall of Fame. It gets better. Zach, Romo compared you to Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes didn't even start his rookie year. And now look at him, an MVP and a Super Bowl champ. It gets better. Though, like Sam Darnold, you'll probably have to leave New York before it does. Trey, back in 2016, the Eagles traded a boatload of picks for another North Dakota State QB. The Eagles were under 500 in Wentz's first year, but in year 2, he was an MVP candidate. It gets better. Justin, you have the lowest completion percentage in the league. Just like 2018 rookie Josh Allen. Allen honed his mechanics and 2 years later had raised his completion percentage by almost 20 points. It gets better. McCorkle, your poise and leadership are already reminding people of another QB in New England. But Brady the rookie was 4th on the Patriots depth chart and completed 1 pass that entire season. And he's gone on to a pretty good career. It gets better. Though it definitely won't get that good. Through 6 weeks, rookie quarterbacks have a 12-28 record. They've thrown 7 more interceptions than touchdowns, but history tells us that it will get better. Mostly because it can't get any worse. All right, that's it for today. A reminder to subscribe here to the Game Day to check out all of the Odd Man Sports episodes, and don't forget to check out my appearance on Ride with Katie from the Broncos game. See you guys next week. Will I?